But these content creators saying, "No, grading is stupid. It's all about the money. It's all about the money." When it comes to grading, it really comes down to the collector. You have your motives. Whether if you want to make money on this hobby so you can keep growing your collection, if you just want to see it as a business adventure, absolutely, you can go ahead and grade. I mean, there's a lot of money behind grading. But if you want to collect, there's you can also grade to preserve the cards long term. And honestly, for me, I think like even then, like I kind of decided early on that I was gonna be grading cards. I was buying graded cards already, but then I started doing my own submissions, and mostly because I wanna get these cards graded for my son. And do they have to be tens? Absolutely not. I mean, like I have my goal, right? I want a full art or a art rare, illustration rare of every single Pokemon for my son. For me, for my collection, I like Cosmo Hollows. Apparently, I'm liking them a lot more, especially if they got a little swirl. So, what's the benefit of grading? Well, outside from potentially giving them some generational wealth for my son, or collecting some cards for myself, it helps them preserve against all the things that you can't control. Whether for me it would be my kids or my one kid right now, but I'm probably gonna have another one eventually, right? But kids can be pretty destructive. And if you guys just saw the little video that I posted, you can see my kid is having fun with these slabs, but he's messing around and banging them and stuff like that. But if these cards were raw, right? It's like, how can I share this collection with them if I'm putting it behind binders? You know, it's if I'm scared that they're gonna damage the cards, right? I can put them in a slab and he can damage it or whatever. Even if grading goes to shit at the end, if Pokemon loses all its value, he's gonna have a card of every single Pokemon, and that's something that I can give him. He can crack the slab. If tag fails and it's no longer like anything worth anything, he has a raw card that is protected, right? So there's a lot of reasons why people would want to grade, and that's for me things. I think for me, it's grading to secure that item long term because there's weather, um, factors like kids, flooding. Like if you have a house, you could flood. If you live in an apartment, upstairs, downstairs, things could happen. Animals. There's a lot of things that can go ahead and ruin your collection. Because let's be honest, a lot of us who had an early childhood collection only put it on binders just so our parents could put it in the garage. And what happened? Well, the binder went ahead and destroyed the cards, the weather, for whatever reason. Like there's a lot of things that maybe you didn't even touch those cards, but just because you're not touching them, you don't know what they are, doesn't mean those cards are preserved. At least you're putting them in a hard plastic and increasing those odds that those cards will survive, right? But these content creators saying, "No, grading is stupid. It's all about the money. It's all about the money." Shut the fuck up. So it is, right? If you don't want to grade, you don't have to grade, right? You can let other people grade, right? But you don't have to use your platform to to try to convince that there's no money behind grading or like it's all about the money. So what, man? Let it be about the money. Just collect what you want to collect. You don't have to throw a little rant about it unless you want to get your little views. Go ahead, right? But you don't have to you don't have to just like try to discourage the concept of grading, not because everyone because you just because your favorite company is no longer doing well, which I would say PSA is probably doing fantastic, right? But there could be a point where PSA is no longer going to be on top. And one thing I've always noticed, like always, every single content creator, whenever it comes to grading, they would always say like tag is always on the come up, not in the come up, right? But they'll mention the top three, but they always want to try tag. They want to see what tag has to offer, right? Um, and whether it's like fast shipping or like fast turnaround dates, the analytical data that it gives you for the cards, I think it's absolutely amazing, like always, right? Just you don't have to be so vocal and discourage other people from what they want to do. If they're into collecting and they want to get into grading, you guys should encourage it as content creators, right? And like here's the thing that I want to do. If you guys are grading through tag, you guys can follow me on Instagram as well. And if there's cards that you guys grade that you guys want to show off, I want to have a community that we show off our biggest wins, right? If you get pristine cards, like it doesn't have to be just Pokemon. It can be One Piece. It could be Yu-Gi-Oh, it can be Lorcana, whatnot. You can tag me on it. I'll repost it, but I want to have a community section, or like a video where like, oh, these are like the cards that tag community submitted, and we got back, and what you're so happy. So the big plays of the week, which would be our pristines tens, right? Our highlights, which would be our tens, like the best tens that you feel like you love in your collection. And for me, one of the things also that I kind of want to highlight are kind of some of the wabi-sabi cards.
This one's pretty. Not according to the book. If you go by the checklist, this one's perfect. But I like how mine's a little off-center. It's got wabi-sabi. You can't win an argument by making up words. Wabi-sabi is an Eastern tradition, Dad. It's celebrating the beauty in what's flawed. Like the crack in the Liberty Bell or the mole on Sandy Crawford's face.
So, what is like a wabi sabi card? Well, it's an imperfect card, but it's still beautiful to you because you collect them, and like there's something that made you want to grade that card outside from like the potential money gain on it. Like for example, Cosmo Hollows. I mean, yeah, there's some money behind them, but like I think the little swirl on it is just, it doesn't matter what the full arts, the SARs do. They don't have that little swirl, and it's something that I think it's gonna age very, very well down the future. So yeah, if you guys ever grade through tag me. My username is gonna be the same thing that is on YouTube. Hey, it's just Dan on Instagram. But grade through tag, and we can go ahead and show like our highlights. Like, so I just got one of my submissions back, and I'll be honest, it was absolutely horrible, but it wasn't with the full intention of just like for myself. There were gifts, there were Christmas gifts, right? Cards that I wanted to give out to friends. So we're talking about, I graded a couple Gengars, and Gengars are pretty hard to come by, but I'm grading the cards that I have in my collection and giving them to my friends because I have a couple coworkers that are really into Pokemon, and we're talking about 30, like mid 30-year-old men who work for the post office just like me, who are working 50 hours, 60 hours a week to provide for the families. And like, like one thing that you guys don't see often is kind of like, people might frown upon, or like, oh, they collect Pokemon and stuff like that. But like, if that's their niche, like, is that what they like? I like to encourage that. Like, hey, everyone, different strokes for different folks, and I don't like my friends kind of feeling like out of place just because they like something so childish that maybe some people don't haven't accepted it yet, right? So they're grading through tag, they're starting to grade through tag, and some of the cards are coming back and they like them, right? But as for myself, right, like I'm mostly collecting, like, sorry, going back to the last submission, yeah, I graded a couple promos, vintage promos. We're talking about the Misty Cedra, we're talking about the promo 9 Mew. We also graded some recent promos like the Iron Thorns from, was it Temporal Forces? So graded that one. There's couple I graded couple two cards from my collection, and I was hoping they would come back as a 10, but even then they didn't. But they're still part of my collection. They're gonna be part of my Wabi Sabi Cosmo foils, right? They're nines, but they got a swirl, and if they got a swirl, they're in my collection for sure, 100%. If they don't, well, I'm more inclined to trade them, to gamble them at work, or like not gamble, right? But to play with them at work, But so I got some of those cards. What else came back? So yeah, like the Tyrannotars, I also got back the a Gardevoir that one of the first cards that my wife pulled. We're talking, I graded a lot of things, and only one of them came back as a 10. The only card that came back as a 10 was a re-crack. I cracked a CGC 8.5 Tyranitar, Japanese, cracked it, sent it, and it came back as a 10, and the system could not find any kind of error on it, which is kind of something, and this is the issue that I have with like subjective grading. Sometimes people won't, like, they won't give you any feedback of why that card got that grade, right? But if we have an AI company that's doing everything to detect errors, and they're being pretty strict, right? And the card that CGC gave an 8.5 and it comes back as a 10, that's a W. That just kind of tells me that maybe that company doesn't know how to grade Japanese product. So one of the future videos that you guys will see, I'm probably going to recrack a good amount on my CGC's cards for tag, because I am converting all my collection to tag, right? So whether it be SARs or ARs, I'm going to crack them, send them to tag, and get them back. Hopefully those cards do great. They might add some value, they might not, but I want them all to be looking good in the tag slab, kind of like how they look behind me. So from that, like honestly, this video is kind of coming out during the holiday period. If you guys are barely watching it, if you guys are not watching it, I hope you guys had a fantastic holiday. Hopefully you guys spend a lot of time with your friends and family, got some much needed time off of work. But yeah, so if you guys made it this far, please, like I said, either like the video, please like and follow. You guys can follow me on social media on Instagram with the same username. Hey, it's just Dan. And if there's any cards that you guys graded and you want to show off to the community, because I want to build a healthy tag community here, go ahead and send me a picture, send me a DM of the card and stuff like that. And I want to highlight your guys' biggest W's. I think it'll be a cool thing that we can do as a tag community. Also from that, I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.